serve cold, but the Wolves and the Hawks never shiver in the snow. The Bulls keep it running, the Sox run the South, the Cubs run the North, but the Bears run the house. True Chicago sports fans got their ears to the street. Any team make a move and they never skip a beat. And in this house, this is where we be. Welcome to the show with E-Rock and Big Z.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Chicago, home of the WNBA champion Chicago Sky. We are coming from the True Chicago Sports Fan Cave. This is the TCSF Podcast with E-Rock and Big Z.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Episode 68 is brought to you by 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, ACSI, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF Podcast t-shirts. Search for keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. That is TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. Get your official TCSF shirts now. As always,
right now.
Yes, right now. As always, I am Big Z and I'm here with my boy E-Rock. What up, E?
What's good, Z? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. If you're a first timer or a long timer, please remember to hit that subscribe button, that notify button, and go ahead and give us a review on your listening app of choice. And don't forget, you can support the show with a monthly subscription at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans. Go on over there and click on support, and you can become a subscriber for as low as 99 cents a month. Let me ask you a question. Do you like the show? Why don't you tell your friends and have them tell 5 of their friends? And we can go on forever and ever and ever and make sure they like and subscribe as well. Z, what's up, brother? How are you doing? How was your week?
I am doing fine. I mean, you know, me and you don't do well in this rainy weather. You get the aches and pains. So no softball for me this week. But I did go bowling earlier in the week. My bowling game has improved a lot after seeing that coach, and we're finishing up one of the seasons next week with a championship. I think we're like top 4, so we'll find out who we play, and if we go from winning from there, we'll win some money, and hopefully I can put some money back in my bank account that I've been spending for the past 6 months. Let's see. I also went to this dancing studio that is called Stiletto. It's here in Westtown, and watch some of the local talent give an amazing performance on a bunch of poles. It was literally themed, Halloween themed. There was about, I think there was 14 different performances, whether it was group or solos. It was pretty much some Circus Soleil stripping stuff, but they didn't strip clothes. They were just dancing on the poles.
Number one rule in life as a father to daughters is keep your daughter off the pole. So I will be staying far away from that place, regardless if they keep their clothes on or not.
Sometimes I'm walking with my daughter, I'm talking to my daughter, I'm looking at her, I'm pushing her and stroller, and sometimes I pick up and I just stare at her and I realize my only job in life is to keep her off the pole.
I'll send you a video later of that one that you're gonna like, because it's funny. It's not in a NSF explicit. They're not taking off the clothes. It's just a funny one that you'll like. It's just your type of humor, so I think you'll like that. How was your week, man?
Okay. Hey, listen. I had a great week despite that hangover from that Bears-Packers game. Friday night softball. I call it the senior leagues. It was the parents and coaches game for our youth league on Friday. I had a couple of hits. It took me, I described it as you ever see someone run so slow, it looks like they're walking backwards? That's how I described the way that I ran to first, so there was no way I was getting any doubles. But yeah, I mean, I had one, bases are loaded, I loaded up, grand slam, except the damn thing was caught. I was completely robbed, so thank you, Shelly, for taking away my grand slam, son of a bitch. I should have left your phone on the ground when you came around first. But listen, so Friday was our softball game, the first time I actually played in the game in forever versus just coaching. And then on Saturday, it was a great day, a celebration of the union between man and wife. Congratulations to our longtime friend and contributor, the man whose voice you hear on our intro song, Jay Soto, a.k.a. George Soto, and his lovely, beautiful bride, Molly, on their wedding. And as some of us found out for the first time, congrats on the to the happy couple on their upcoming bundle of joy. I had no idea. They also did the gender reveal during the wedding. They're going to have a boy. So congratulations to George and Molly on not only your wedding, but your baby boy coming up next year. They were finally able to have their ceremony. It was pushed back for a couple, almost like 2 years because of COVID. So, it was fantastic. It was a great time to be out there, celebrate with them. He debuted a new song that he made just for her. So, it was really, really nice to be out there and to celebrate with my homie of like 25 years. And another thing that I'm really excited for, Jay, he's going to be working with the team over at ACSI. And I know there's a lot more people out there looking for a new gig. So let me tell you all about a great opportunity with ACSI. With over 50 expert technicians in the Chicagoland area, ACSI offers a one-stop shop for telecom wiring, whether residential cable installation, fiber to the home, or commercial structured cable wiring. ACSI is a proud partner of both Comcast and RCN. Let me tell you the most impressive thing about ACSI. During these hard times, the ACSI did their thing during the COVID-19 pandemic, and ACSI was awarded Hacia's 2020 Contractor of the Year award. The best part is that ACSI is growing bigger and better than ever. ACSI is now hiring for field sales, technicians, and project managers. Check out ACSI.tech. That's ACSI.tech and click on careers to apply today and go get you a job just like our boy Jay Soto.
Go get a job. Congrats to Jay.
That's right. That's right. This week, we talk about this kind of embarrassing loss. I would say kind of a very embarrassing loss against the Bucs. We're going to touch a little bit on what the hell the Blackhawks are doing because it doesn't sound like they're doing much at all. The Bulls are 3-0, the only 3-0 team in the NBA. The Fighting Irish will win over a rival. And, we'll talk a little bit about the World Series coming up. And, of course, during the pod and what you looking at. But first, this is the Big Three with Big Z.
Thanks, E-Rock. I'm Big Z, and you're not. All right, guys, for today's story number one, and this one's a wild one because it's a local one. An Illinois woman is accused of shooting and killing a man for refusing to kill her. I read this and I got nervous myself. That's what happened there.
I'm in danger.
All right, let me tell you what happened, man. A 28-year-old woman in Illinois shot and killed a man earlier this week in a bizarre love triangle dispute. The Chicago Sun-Times reported that Claudia Resendez Flores was staying with two pals, James Jones and his girlfriend, at their home in the city of Rolling Meadows, which is right outside Chicago, when the incident unfolded last Thursday night. Prosecutors in Cook County said that the trio were having a drink together when Resendez Flores allegedly asked Jones for a kiss. Jones declined because he had a girlfriend who was right next to him. He did the right thing. He then kissed his girlfriend in front of Resendez Flores, prompting an envious Resendez Flores to ask the girlfriend for a kiss. Prosecutors said that during the bond, she declined as well. So she was trying to get it in with somebody, and the couple said no.
Joni loves chachi.
When Jones asked again for another kiss and he refused her, it enraged Flores, and she grabbed the gun that he had tucked in between the two couch cushions and aimed it at him. Jones tried to push Resendez's forearm down as she pulled the safety off and put her finger on the trigger, but the gun went off, striking Jones once in the chest. His girlfriend called 911 when officers arrived at the scene. She admitted that she shot him. She is charged with first-degree murder. This is crazy, yo.
Murder.
This is crazy. She's got 3 kids, man. Resendez Flores. She's got 3 kids. She's going away for a long time.
Hey, she got 3 kids. It sounded like she was trying to have a couple more, trying to kiss on someone else's man there. This is I don't know, man. Isn't there classifieds or Craigslist or somebody? If you're looking for someone to love, you can find them.
Apps.
But
there's apps.
Leave them alone. What the hell's going on over here?
It is insane.
That's rough.
Yeah, that's what I said. Keep your guns locked up, people. Keep your guns locked up.
Yep.
You never know what's going to happen.
Hey, what was it? Hide your kids, hide your girlfriend, hide your husband too, because this broad's coming after you.
Jesus, man. Should have gave her like a drink or something to calm her down, man. All right, story number 2. Oh, man, this is not a good one, man. Police make a report that Michael Jordan's son's arrested for assault on Scottsdale hospital staff. Yeah, this mug picture does not look nice, brother. Oh, man. The son of the NBA Hall of Famer Michael Jordan has been arrested after allegedly assaulting staff at a Scottsdale hospital in September. According to the Scottsdale police officers, Jeffrey Jordan slipped and hit the back of his head on a table at Casa Amigos restaurant in Old Town Scottsdale. Security at the restaurant called for police officers who were already there for a different incident and helped him out of the restaurant. That's where paramedics checked him out and took him to the nearby hospital. While at the hospital being treated, police said that Jordan assaulted the hospital staff. Investigators don't give any specific details, but Jordan was released from the hospital on that Saturday when the incident happened, and taken to jail, where he was booked for 1 count of aggravated assault against healthcare professionals. He was released an hour later. Officers said no criminal charges were filed in connection to his fall at Casamigos. This is wild, bro.
If I'm not mistaken, Casamigos is the brand of a tequila. So maybe if you can't handle your tequila, sir, don't drink tequila, because that's the only thing that I would think. You either can do tequila or you can't. That's just what it is. And those who can't shouldn't. And leave that stuff alone. Leave it to the professionals like Big Z and myself, because we'll take it for you. But it sounds like he was dabbling in something that he should not have been.
Yeah, that might have been the issue. You're mixing stuff, you're mixing different drugs, or you're mixing different liquors. It never ends up well for you.
Nah. Unless you're smart like me and you order a Modelo, but then also a tequila on the rocks with a lime, and then you basically let those rocks kind of melt a little bit and let the tequila or let the lime steep in tequila. By the time you finish that Modelo, your tequila is ready to go. You get another beer, you sip on your tequila, and you're ready to go. But if you don't know what you're doing, you just start doing shots, then it ain't for you, bruh.
Hey, man, you just don't mix different countries, man. It's simple as that. You don't mix Mexico with Poland or Russia, with their vodka. You just don't mix those things. You don't mix Mexico with Kentucky. You don't mix it with bourbon and whiskey, man. You just don't do that.
From what I know, watching many documentaries like Goodfellas and but according to Al Pacino, if you watch Scarface, you can mix tequila with Colombia, so you can't mix Mexico and Colombia together if you're so skilled.
Also, if you have a lot of money. All right, story number 3, and this one was a shocker for the rest for this week. This one really took me back. On Thursday, Alec Baldwin fired a gun, which he was told was a prop gun, and it was safe to be on the set of the film Rust. Instead, the gun was apparently loaded with live ammunition, leading to the stunning death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins and an injury to the movie's director Joe Souza. Though the intense police investigation continues, it seems highly unlikely that Baldwin will be charged with a crime. So this is one of those things that unfortunately happens sometimes, and I'm glad it happens in a long time. But the last time I remember this happening was during filming of The Crow.
Yeah, so Brandon Lee was the person that you're talking about. Brandon Lee was killed tragically on the set of The Crow. And then there was also another incident, I want to say 1984, where a person was killed because they were pretending to play Russian roulette, and they put the gun to their head and pulled the trigger. I did a little bit of research on this, and essentially there was a few things going on. This is a Western-style movie that Alec Baldwin is not only starring in, but he's also producing. It is in the set, I want to say, New Mexico, where they do a ton of Western movies out in the United States. And there was a big complaint from a lot of the staff at the time because of poor working condition, long hours, too hot, so on and so forth. It was supposed to be a pretty short, I want to say like a 25-day shoot, and they were maybe on day 13. So the union members that were there, your grips, your prop people, whatever it is, they were actually leaving. They left the set early that day, and they brought in some non-union members. Apparently the prop guy they had on set He gave Baldwin a gun that had live ammunition in it and not the blanks they typically use. So that is essentially what happened there. It was a very, very tragic story. Apparently the guy who was the prop guy, that the non-union guy or whatever, there was another incident with him and safety in the past. So, this is really unfortunate. I want to say there was even another show that took action because of this, that they decided that they're no longer going to use actual firearms. They're going to use props and do maybe some CGI or something like that. But this is a really tragic story, and I feel bad for the family of the woman who was killed, because she was a mother, 43 years old, young person. I feel bad for Baldwin because he had no idea what's going on, and essentially I don't know if they're going to continue filming at any point for this movie. So I feel bad for everyone involved. This is just a really, really sad and tragic story.
Yeah, this is really, really sad. Like you said, sad story. Alec Baldwin has no issue because he's trusting the prop guy to give him the prop, and he just moves forward. I mean, I don't know if he knows about ammunition and guns and so forth, and maybe he doesn't, maybe he does, but either way, the weight of it's still gonna be the same. Now he ends up shooting the cinematographer and the director, and usually when they shoot with a blank, you need about 20 feet for safety, because it's still a blank, but there's still kind of an explosion, with the bullet and so forth. But the problem with this is that, obviously there's going to be some type of legal ramification. And in New Mexico, this can be charged as a involuntary manslaughter for Alec Baldwin. And this is just a sad situation. And then you also have him being the executive producer, and his company is the one, producing the film. So as that company is going to be held liable in a civil court of law. So you can expect that as well. And it's just, again, very sad loss of life, because someone was very negligent in this issue.
Yeah, I agree. And you're not wrong. The legal ramifications that come down along the line are going to be, it's just another level of hell for the family to have to go through. Baldwin and his production crew going to have to go through. So, it's just sad all the way around, but I hope that they're able to, resolve whatever they can, and just hopefully you're never going to be able to move all the way past it, but hopefully, time will heal all wounds, and they'll be able to get on with their lives. All right, y'all, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
Welcome back to the TCSF Podcast with E-Rock and Big Z.
Yeah.
This is The Loop, our Chicago sports roundup where we keep you in the loop.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
Yo, E, what's going on with our beloved Bears?
The Bears, good Lord.
This is not how we wanted it to go. You almost can't even make it up. It's that bad.
That's how bad it was, ladies and gentlemen. After the Packers came into Chicago last week and Aaron Rodgers declared that he owns the Bears, Tom Brady came out in an interview to say congrats to Rodgers on his partial ownership of the Bears. Well, it looks like Brady and the Bucs wanted to prove that they also own the Bears, especially after last year's loss where he looked all confused. One note, the biggest difference in age between two starting quarterbacks in NFL history, Brady is literally old enough to be Justin Fields' daddy, and he proved it on the field today. In the first quarter, Fields took a big shot in the first drive of the game. Luckily, fellow rookie Khalil Herbert was there to pounce on it after a fumble. The Bears punted, and the Bucs get a 43-yard return on some slick moves from Bucs returner Jalen Darden. Bucs took over, and you can immediately feel the loss of Hicks because Fournette barrels down the field for a long run, followed up by the first rushing touchdown of the game on the very next play. On the next Bears possession, Herbert takes it up to the left side of the field and gets a great 29-yard run, which was the longest run allowed by Tampa this season. Unfortunately, the drive stalls out on a pass to Kmet, which he can't handle. After both teams exchange punts, Fields makes his first big mistake of the game with a long throw downfield that is intercepted by the Bucs defense. Tom Brady takes over on a short field and drives the ball down the field with a couple of passes to Chris Godwin, finishing it off with a touchdown pass to the fifth-year wideout. Great for fantasy, but horrible for the Bears. The Bears get the ball back before, and the aggressive Bucs pass rush strips the ball, causing a fumble recovery by the Bucs Vita Vea. Bucs take over on the Bears 35. Tom Brady next throws his 600th career regular season touchdown to Mike Evans, and the Bucs lead 21-0 at the end of the first half. Z, what the hell happened there?
Yeah, 21-0 in the first quarter. I mean, that's embarrassing. And yes, I put that in as a pun. It just looked like, Tom Brady took it personally that he lost to the Bears last season. That's what exactly he did. He's like, I'm going to light these guys up left and right. Their secondary is not that great. They got a lot of guys that are hurt on COVID protocol. They're not at full strength. And I don't think that the offense is going to be able to put up the points that I'm going to be able to put up. They also have way better assets to use on offense. It looked like Brady was just in there with a force field that he wasn't getting touched as much as our quarterback was. So pretty much at the first quarter, that pretty much ended up the game for me. I was just like, okay, this is just going to be really bad. The only bright spot for me is that Khalil Herbert put up 100 yards, 5.6 average on 18 carries. This kid was wrecking the game because no one had 100 yards rushing on the Bucs this year.
No, and that was definitely the bright spot of the game. We were seeing Khalil Herbert, especially with that one, 29-yard rushing attempt. You know what I mean? So that helps out a lot. Going into the second, the Bears were able to hold Tampa down and force the punt. But soon after, JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, forced another fumble, and the Bucs recovered the ball again to give Brady another short field to work with. After throwing that 600 career touchdown, the Bears defense forced 6 straight incompletions, which matches the longest incompletion streak of Brady's 22-year career. So it's kind of a weird stat there right after you throw that, a very significant career, which incidentally Mike Evans didn't realize at first and threw it into the stands, and they had to get that ball back. So I hope they give that guy in the stands like a buttload of money or something, because what they were reporting is he's going to get like a signed football and a T-shirt or something. I was like, man, you better give me some money. But yeah, so it was kind of a weird stat that the Bears, that Brady had 6 straight incompletions, which is, like I said, it matches the longest incompletion streak of his career. But they went ahead and they forced a field goal. The Bears forced a field goal by the Bucs, and the Bucs kicker missed it. So, they were able to kind of come back a little bit, and the Bears finally take over, and we see Fields throwing downfield to his guy Mooney, followed by a couple of hard runs again by Khalil Herbert. But it seemed like later on they just really had nothing for them. It seemed like Brady and the Bucs were pulling up off the gas a little bit, and the Bears defense hold them down long enough. 2 turnovers on third down in the first half for the Bears. A toss in the end zone to Jesper Horsted can't be caught. A 57-yard drive was capped off by a Cairo Santos field goal for the Bears' first and only points of the game. Bucks take over again before the end of the half, and with a long pass and a short pass, Mike Evans catches another touchdown to put the Bears down by 25 with about 3.5 minutes left in the first half. The Bears went for it on 4th and 4 right after the 2-minute warning, and again, JPP gets Fields for the sack as he tries to scramble after he went through his progressions and he couldn't find anyone open. He thought he was going to be able to kind of run to the left, and JPP saw him and grabbed him. Brady took over and immediately threw it downfield, and it looked like, again, he was trying to embarrass the Bears after the game last year. And then with 9 seconds left in the first half, Brady threw to Mike Evans for his third touchdown of the half. Going into halftime, the Bears are already down 35-3.
Yeah, this was an embarrassing half to watch. You're looking at 21 points in the first, 14 points in the second by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, they really just did it. All they needed was 2 touchdowns to beat the Bears, and that's just embarrassing because in today's NFL, you've got to be scoring at least 25 to 30 points a game to compete with the big boys. And right now, you can tell we're not going to be able to compete with any of the big boys, any of the medium boys, or even the little boys. This team is not equipped to win right now. There's a lot of issues going on. You got the offensive line that can only block for run. I get it. They're piecing it together. People are hurt. But at the same time, they're not. Their cap, their structure is super pretty much gridlocked. They can't do much with the money that they have, so they can't get out talent that they need out there. And I don't know if that's going to happen in the next couple of years as well. And this is the time to do it because you have a good quarterback on a rookie contract, just like, Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes. You've got to win during those rookie years because you have that extra money. Right now, a lot of the money is pretty much tied up on the defense that's aging. And at the same time, the secondary is not that great. So you literally have 4 or 5 players on the defense that are taking up all your money. So if you look at it, you've got, 2 or 3 turnovers? All right, so it's halftime. Nagy's got he's got the whiteboard. What is Nagy doing? Does he make any changes once he comes out for the third quarter? You tell me, man.
I mean, I think the biggest issue here is, number one, they took the ball to start the game instead of kicking it off, which, you see most coaches want to get that ball, but I want to get the ball back after the second half or after the halftime because they're hoping to kind of double up on a possession at the end of the first half and then grab it again at the beginning of the second half. But I think today the idea was that the Bears and Nagy wanted to get off to a quick start, which they obviously didn't. They come out of halftime. Bucks take the ball to start the second half of the game, and the Bears managed to stop them from scoring, forcing a punt on the first possession of the second half. Justin Fields and the Bears take over and finally managed to convert a third down with a pass to Bird down the left sideline, followed by a 23-yard pass to Darnell Mooney. Now, these are the type of plays that we need to see the Bears get into, play action, bootleg type plays, and get the ball down the field. So I would say in that aspect, we did see them do a little bit of adjusting in the halftime period, trying to get Justin Fields a little bit more active. But, when we talked about before, that offensive line is just not really doing what they need to do to give them the time to get open. And then when you already know that you're not going to have to worry about getting to the quarterback, because I mean, the thing is that Tampa went all in. They rushed and they blitzed the hell out of the rookie. And that's why he kept giving up the ball. The Bears did really start to move the ball down the field, but unfortunately on 3rd and 2, Cody Whitehair gets a penalty, knocks him all the way back to the 25. And it's now 3rd and 12. Fields throws a pass that's a little bit too high for Mooney. He tips the ball, and then, of course, it ends up in the arms of another Tampa defender, and the Bears take over once again. The Bears are starting to show their frustration at this point. Bilal Nichols punches a Bucs offensive lineman and gets ejected from the game with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. The Bucs later on go for it on 4th and goal, and the Bears defense holds up the defending champs to stop that run and force a turnover deep in their own territory to end the third quarter. It was good to see some fight out of this team at least. I mean, I don't want to see, Nichols or any other player pull Javon Wims where you start trying to throw punches at guys in helmets, which is absolutely stupid. But to see, hey, I have feelings out here. I'm showing you my emotion. And the fact that the Bucs were going for another touchdown at that point, and the Bears were able to stop them. That was definitely a positive. You show them, hey, they still have some fight in there. So they actually held the Bucs scoreless in the third quarter, but unfortunately, the Bears couldn't score either.
I don't even want to talk about the fourth quarter because it was just hot garbage time. I mean, to be honest with you, the third quarter was just them cruising through it, literally set it on cruise control. Like, Tom Brady's going to dump it off. We're going to run it. Okay, we know your offense is not going to be able to do anything, and we're just going to let you shoot yourself in the foot because the kid is getting pressured by Todd Bowles, who's throwing the kitchen sink at him every single play. He was confusing him by rushing everybody up to the line, and the kid had no idea who was going to blitz and who was going to drop back. And then when they would drop back, now he had no one open, and he went through, his progression. He's got to get his progression done in 2.3 seconds, or else JPP's on his ass. So the kid was, under fire the whole game. He's going to be gun shy.
Yeah, and then the thing is that going into the fourth with that, turnover and downs, stopping the Bucs from going for that extra touchdown and a rushing touchdown, you're literally throwing from your own end zone. And if we've seen anything from, by this point in the game, we know that it's not going to be a good time for Justin Fields. Unfortunately, Justin Fields starts the fourth quarter with another turnover, throwing from his own end zone right into the arms of a Bucs defender, and gave them the ball again in Bears territory for the sixth time in the game. This led to a field goal by the Bucs, and the score right then sits at 38-3, would happen to be the final. Later on, the Bucs end up putting in Blaine Gabbert. The Bears hold the Bucs to a field goal in the second half, but unfortunately, the Bucs hold the Bears to a full field goal for the whole game. Justin Fields and Matt Nagy both had something to say after the game.
There's a lot of things. It's not just one thing. It was a bunch of things. So, I'm just leave it at that. We got to continue to work. When times like this, times where you get, beat, blown out, you got two choices. You can either say, F it, I'm going to stop working, I'm going to stop playing, or you can go the other route and say, so I'm gonna keep working. I know myself, no matter how many picks I throw, no matter how many L's we take, I'm keep going. That's just a fact. And that's just, who I am. I'm never gonna stop, and I'm always gonna keep going. So, yeah.
The game, being able to come out and start the way we did and not start, as good as we need to, and go 3 and out and have the punt return, and then for them to score, you get behind versus a team like this and have the turnovers that we had, it makes it difficult. So, this is something that we got to be able to rebound from and understand and learn from in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, let's Captain Obvious over here that we didn't want this result. Obviously, yeah, but where's the adjustments, the in-game adjustments, the halftime adjustments? The only adjustment I did see was that they did go 5 wide.
They made an adjustment going into the second half, but the problem is that if your line is still not holding long enough, if your opponent is still rushing, there's, like, you're already down by 5 touchdowns at that point. Like, what adjustment can you make? It's not like, oh man, it's now 24-17 and you just missed that. What adjustment can you make? The adjustment is, all right, you saw him kind of do some of the bootleg stuff, some of the play action and things like that. But at that point, it's too little too late. And that when you're down 21 points in the first quarter, right now, at that point, it's just, trying not to, just put it, it's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. It ain't getting any better until you go to the hospital and get it sewn up, bro.
No, and we were talking about this on while the game was going on, and I was like, where's the adjustment? Where's the bootleg? Where's the draw? You have the blitz coming in. You can use that to your advantage to try to get a play. But unfortunately, this offensive line still is not giving them enough time to block, even if you do those plays, because you were like, there it is. I'm like, I can't argue. It's right. You're right. He has 2.3 seconds, and you need about 3 to 4 seconds to let that play develop if you're going to do a rollout or a sweep or all that. You got to get that blocking out there. So the only thing they were able to do is block on run plays. It literally looked like a Tecmo Bowl playbook. He had one play for running to the left and one play for running to the right and 2 passing plays. Here's a deep ball or here's a play action. That's all they had. So, again, I don't blame a lot on what the kid is doing because we talked about it. It's going to go up and down, and it just depends on the level of competition that they're facing. When you're facing the Raiders, they weren't that good. I mean, you faced the Lions. We know they weren't that good. So those are games that you should be winning and you should be very competitive. But when you're playing the Bengals and the Rams and the Bucs, yeah, it's gonna show up like this.
Well, I mean, they beat the Bengals, you know what I mean? And right, the Bengals have proven to be probably the class of the NFC, what is it, or the AFC North right there, because, you know, we see Baltimore right there, and they struggled today against the Bengals. So the Bengals are actually doing a good job, and we beat them, you know? So, I mean, like, whether it's, you know, just the way that you know, things go sometimes or whatever it is. But I mean, when you look at the stats, I mean, Justin Fields was 22 for 32, 184 yards with 3 interceptions. Now, when you look at tip balls and things like that, you know, he had those 3 interceptions, but he also had, I want to say there was 2 fumbles that were forced. So that's, you know, a total of 5 turnovers by Justin Fields. You can't always blame every single turnover on the quarterback. It's one thing if he throws directly into coverage, which he, you know, right at a defender, which he did. But I mean, when you get a tip ball, how do you, you know, and the thing is that the one to Mooney, that was probably his fault because he just expected Mooney to be able to get there. But also, here's the problem is that when you're constantly under fire, you have to sit there and throw it a lot faster. So he did make a comment early on in the preseason where he talked about, well, the game's a lot slower than I expected, so on and so forth. You know, you could have it where some of these teams are taking that to heart and be like, oh, you think it's slow? Watch this, you know? So there's a lot of different things going on. Like you said, Herbert did have 100 yards, 18 carries, and an average of 5.6 yards per carry. So that's pretty good. Damian Williams, who was out last week because of the COVID protocol, he did play today. He only had 3 carries and only 5 yards. Cole Kmet actually had a pretty decent day for a tight end. He had 5 receptions for 43 yards, and Mooney had 2 receptions, 39 yards, but pretty long down the field. We really didn't see too much else there. Like I said, Jesper Horsted, he did have a target thrown to him, which he did not catch in the end zone. But something that was very curious to me was Damian Williams. Like I said, he's back off the COVID-19 list, but I was really surprised to find out that something that they come out during the week. He's not vaccinated. He sat out all of last season due to COVID, but he came back this year and he's not vaccinated. Does that make any sense to you?
No, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, the protocol is completely different if you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. So if you're vaccinated, you know, you have to test twice with 2 negative results before you're allowed back into the building, and that's after 2 to 3 days. With not being vaccinated, you have to quarantine for whatever, I think 7 to 10 days, then have two tests, you know, positive. So you're looking at 2 weeks. You're going to hurt your team for 2 weeks for not getting a vaccination.
But it's just the fact that he sat out all of last year and then came back this year and is not vaccinated, it makes no sense to me. We also saw that Robert Quinn is on the COVID protocol because even though he is fully vaccinated, he had a breakout case. Akeem Hicks was out again today with that groin injury, and Khalil Mack has been fighting an ankle injury all week. You know, with a team whose secondary is questionable, you know that's not a good sign. Eddie Jackson can't shoulder tackle his way out of this. You know what I mean? God. So that was part of the issue. And the absentee tight end Jamie Graham was also on the COVID protocol, and as far as I can tell, he's been on the COVID list the entire season because I don't remember what he looks like at this point.
No, he must be getting ready for Halloween and putting the mask on because you're not going to find him at all. He doesn't even block. He doesn't even block. You'll see Kmet on the blocking schemes. He doesn't chip. He's on the sideline. He's the biggest money thief on this team right now.
I mean, the problem is that if they don't use him, it's not what is he supposed to do? You know what I mean? If they don't use him, because last year when they did use him, you saw him actually get some touchdowns in the red zone. But if you don't use the man, I can't blame him for not getting touches if they do not want to use him. They've been really weird and stingy with the way that they're throwing to the tight ends. But you know, when you look at the total yardage that Justin Fields has had, up to this point in the season, I mean, he's getting either just at 200, maybe a little bit over, maybe a little bit less, but that's kind of been his average for the season. So it's not like all the other receivers or tight ends on the team are getting a lot of play. It's just they're just not super efficient. They've been doing a pretty good job with the run because we saw what Monty was doing early on in the season. We saw Damian Williams come in after Monty got hurt, and we've seen Khalil Herbert do a really good job in the run game. So their run game is not the problem right now, but their passing game is definitely a problem. And when you see the arm talent that Justin Fields has, that's what is very frustrating when we look at the fact that we know that he can get it down the field, and he can get it down the field with some accuracy. But if he has no time to think, he has no time to throw. So let's take a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. What is there anything good you can find to talk about in this game?
Your running game. Khalil Herbert with 133 total all-purpose yards, with 100 rushing and 33 in passing. He looked like one of the old Bears offensive scheme with what is his name? Matt Forte. Thank you. With Matt Forte being the all-purpose yard getter. So use your release valve, and he's going to be your number one priority in getting the ball to the sticks. Other than that, I don't see anything else good.
So my good would be that stop to stop the Bucs from getting that touchdown. Knowing that you're down by so much, they're like, hey, fuck you guys, you're not going to keep running it down our throat, and then getting that goal line stand with what, like I said, 4th and 4 or whatever it was. I give them credit for that, because like I said, it showed that they still had some fight in them. What is your bad for this game?
My bad is the offensive line, and I know they're all going to hurt, but they got to give the kid a bit more time, because what's going to end up happening is this kid's going to get popped by a linebacker or a lineman and get really hurt. You've seen a couple quarterbacks get hurt today, and they may be out for a couple weeks, with Mahomes getting a headshot on a slide, and then at the kid from New York, I think he got pulled out, but there was another one that got injured too. So, yeah, and remember, if you lose your quarterback, you're done for the season, and you can be done even longer if it's a serious injury.
I would say for bad, I think I'm with you on the offensive line, at least for this week. They really had no answers for the fact that Todd Bowles kept blitzing no matter what, and it was frustrating, and just seeing Justin Fields just get no time to do anything. There was those two fumbles that he had were both in a throwing motion, but because his arm wasn't going forward, he got stopped before his arm was able to go forward, and those balls got knocked out of his hand, and both of those fumbles happened that same way. So I'm definitely with you with the offensive line being the bad for this week. What is your ugly from this game?
The ugly is 3 points, man. 3 points of total. You have 4 quarters. You have 60 minutes. You held the ball for, I think, 29 minutes, and you only put up 3 points. I feel like the offense keeps regressing. I mean, Kyle Orton put up better numbers in this. And I'm not saying against Justin Fields. I'm talking about just offensively and getting points.
My ugly for this game is the fact that after the game, when you listen to Tom Brady's press conference, he was upset that they left points on the field, because they absolutely did. Their little mistakes would have made this so much worse. And what this whole thing reminds me of is a Mark Trestman team who in back-to-back weeks gave up 50 points to the Packers and then to the Patriots, which are the same two quarterbacks that we're seeing all over again. And at least we didn't see a 50 burger here. But to have that happen back to back, and then hear Tom Brady and kind of making fun of the whole thing where Aaron Rodgers is talking about how he owns the Bears, and then going out there and doing basically the same thing to us, that was ugly. I hope that I have no idea what's going to happen with this coach at the end of the season. People are clamoring for him to be fired now. That is never, ever going to happen. The Bears do not get rid of coaches mid-season, and it doesn't do anything for your development of Justin Fields. All it does is just create a bunch of confusion so that going into next year, you're just sitting there like, well, now what do we do? What do we take away from last year? You finish out the season, you see what happens. I mean, you got 17 games. This is game 7. So now you're sitting at 3 and 5. See what happens and just see if we can build on something. Let's see if we can build up the confidence of this kid and go from there. The Bears come home next week to face the 49ers in a Halloween game, and hopefully it's not as scary as this bullshit we saw today.
Yeah, they're going to get their sweet ass handed to them, man. All right.
By the Niners, I don't know about that.
We'll see.
Well, let's not act like the Niners are the Bucs or the Packers at all.
No,
the Niners right now are trying to figure out who's going to play quarterback for them.
Yeah, it might be rookie versus rookie, right?
Yeah, I mean, because you might have Trey Lance out there because he's been going back and forth. He didn't play today, but you got Jimmy G out there too. So let's not act like the 49ers and the Bears are probably on the same talent level.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
they have a lot of injuries on offense. No Kittle, no Ayuk. I think that's his name.
Yep.
They got 3 receivers on IR and their tight end. So, and they're on their second running back as well. So they're offensively they're in the same boat. I just think they're a little better defensively right now. So. Well, I mean, if you put 30 something points on you in the first half, so that's what I'm talking about. All right, E, let's move over to the collegiate slate. What's up with the Golden Domers and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish?
Number 13, Notre Dame caught a late push from USC, but the Fighting Irish were ultimately able to hold off the Trojans in an impressive overall performance in a 31-16 win. It was one of the best showings of the seasons for Notre Dame's offense, with running back Kyron Williams leading the way with 138 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on 25 carries. The offensive line has been reworked several times throughout the first half of the season. They still did a good job of protecting quarterback Jack Cohen, in addition to opening up space for Williams and the rest of the Notre Dame rushers. Here's what head coach Brian Kelly had to say after the win.
Great victory. Look, it means a lot. It's a rivalry game, but it's our rivalry game at Notre Dame. I know there's a lot of teams that play us and consider a big rivalry, and certainly I understand why. But this is our game, and it means a lot. It means a lot to our kids. It means a lot to our university, everybody associated with it. To come out victorious feels really good.
And this is literally exactly what I said had to happen on the show last week. The Irish really needed another great performance from Kyron Williams, and that's exactly what happened. And Jack Cohn benefited from that greatly.
Yeah, like I told you last week, I was like very skeptical because I saw that carousel. But at this point, it looks like they're moving players into be in the best position to win each individual game. So they're going back based on matchups and whoever's the hot hand. And it's working for Notre Dame. And this is a rivalry game that they always step up for.
So the thing is with I know you like to use that phrase, the carousel. Jack Cohn is their starter, but with college football, you do move quarterbacks around. It's not like the NFL where you're going to completely destroy a kid's where you're going to completely control what the word I'm thinking of, confidence. When you're going to completely destroy a kid's confidence by going back and forth, like I said, if you had Andy Dalton coming in for Justin Fields, but in college you move your quarterback in and out. That's just how it works, because you're doing whatever you can. You're desperately to try to win a game every single week, because that's the only way that you make it to a playoff. Now, one cool thing that did happen was that, we think about Notre Dame's visit to Athens when they played Georgia in 2019. That loss looks like it still has a lasting effect on the program. That night was nuts, and Georgia put on a sound and light show that really symbolized the importance of that game. It was a much wilder atmosphere than what happened in South Bend in 2017, which isn't really saying much. A few weeks after that 2019 Georgia game, Notre Dame asked fans to turn on their phones on their lights for the 1812 overture, a move that's right out of that Bulldogs playbook. It definitely looks like that addition is staying for the future. We saw the stadium lit up with fans' cell phones. It was a great sight, and it really reminded me of like the old days where people will hold up their lighters at the concerts.
That's a really throwback with the lighters. Now you got to use the Zippo app on your phone to make a fake lighter.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, like I said, Jack Cohn was really benefited by the fact that Kyron Williams had such a great game. He finished the game 20 for 28, 189 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Williams had, like I said, 25 carries, 138 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So it was really nice to see. Tyler Buckner also came in for a rushing touchdown later on. So look, this was a great game for the Irish to be able to win. The Trojans really tried to make a push. They scored 13 in the end at the last quarter, in the fourth quarter, but they only scored 16. So let's see. Let's keep it easy. Let's keep it on track for Notre Dame and see if they can do something interesting towards the end of the season.
Yeah, who do you guys got next?
All right. Next up, Notre Dame is going to face the University of North Carolina, our boy Mitch Trubisky's old team, and Notre Dame actually did move up a couple spots after this game to number 11. So this is another game where you see them kind of play every couple years. They still have to play they still have to play Navy, Georgia Tech, Virginia, and Stanford to finish out the season. So I'll definitely be watching these games. There's no reason they can't win all 4 of these. So let's see if they can finish the season strong and only finish out with that one loss.
Well, I'm glad you have that confidence in the Fighting Irish to win all 4 games, because I don't. I think they win too.
Right. Whoa. This is a number 11 team going against Navy, Georgia Tech, Virginia, and Stanford. These are unranked teams. They're number 11. You can calm down there, sir.
I think Georgia Tech might win one.
What do you know? What do you know about Georgia Tech?
Nothing, but I just have a hunch
about Georgia Tech.
I don't watch college football like you do. I'm just have a little hunch.
That's my point. You just like talking shit for the sake of talking shit. Georgia Tech been getting their ass beat all season. Georgia Tech lost 22-21 against Northern Illinois.
Oh, that was that game. Yes, that was an exciting game. Though. I did watch the highlights on that.
So okay. All right, Georgia Tech fan. How about this? How about you tell me what's going on with Chicago's Big Ten team?
All right, Northwestern got spanked 33-7 by number 6 ranked Michigan. Many people assumed that this would be an automatic blowout, but the Wildcats actually held their own in the first half of the game. The game was supposed to be a blowout in favor of the Wolverines, but early on, the Wildcats had no intention of cowering down. The two teams traded punts for the entirety of the first quarter, but when the Wolverines finally broke through in the early stages of the second quarter, when sophomore running back Blake Corum ran into the end zone for a 1-yard touchdown. A Wildcat punt was then followed by a lengthy Wolverine drive that turned into a short field goal by senior kicker Jake Moody, making it a score of 10-0. So that's still, a pretty close game. So they were supposed to get blown the F out. The crucial defensive stand of holding the Wolverines to a field goal paid off moments later when sophomore running back Evan Hall broke free for a 75-yard touchdown, making the score 10-7 with 2:16 remaining in the half. The Wolverines had the opportunity to extend the lead towards at the end of the half, but a forced fumble by the Wildcats within the red zone made sure that the score stayed at 10-7 at the half. When they came back from halftime, it was all Michigan, who scored 23 consecutive points to finish it off. Northwestern faces Minnesota next week, and I'm sure we'll keep an eye on that game. But with this win, it sets up one of those dream college football games. Undefeated number 6 will face undefeated number 8 Michigan State, which makes it more special that I don't think fans knew that. What makes it more special is that I don't think that most fans knew what to make of either team at the start of the season. With neither team ranked in the preseason AP Top 25, all football fans should be tuning in for this one. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
You say that you don't watch college football, you don't like college football, whatever it is. I'm telling you right now, you got 2 unranked teams. You got Michigan, you got Michigan State. Even on a regular schedule, if they're both unranked, if they're both terrible, this is a fun game to watch. Now that they're both ranked and in the top 10 and in undefeated, you cannot miss this game. This is going to be one of them. It should be one of them slobber knockers, like your boy JR likes to say, a barn burner, whatever you want to say. But I don't care if you are a football fan at all. This is one of them games, and this is one of them games that makes college football special. It's a moment in time. Those players are only on that team for a couple years. It's not like, it's not like the Steelers versus the Ravens where you got Roethlisberger versus Ray Lewis over and over and over again. This is one moment in time. You could have something special happen that you're going to remember for the next 30 years of your football watching life or whatever it is. So I would definitely recommend turning into this game.
All right, so who's your pick for this one? Is it going to be Michigan or Michigan State to win?
I'm gonna go with Michigan. I just think right now, that they are the more talented team, but this is one of those games where it could go either way. And like I said, I'll be watching either way. This is one of those ones where, even if a team is down by 3 touchdowns going into the 4th, that the other team is not going to allow that to stand as it is. So I'm just looking forward to one of these great these great college football games, man. And you usually get a couple of these a year where you get some crazy upset, or you just get like 2 teams where no one expected anything out of to face each other and to do well. So I'm definitely looking forward to this.
All right, man. Check your local listings, because I will be. All right, E, what's going on with the Fighting Illini? Can we talk about them this week? That they put up a fight?
Apparently, they figured out that the word fighting is in the first part of their nickname. because they had 9 overtimes, and that's how long it took for Illinois to take down number 7 Penn State on the road for the first win of the first big win of Brett Bielema's tenure. The Illinois made a phenomenal case for bringing the ties back to college football in the process because they tried to not win this game for a long time. Like I said, the Illini defeated Penn State in the 9 overtime stunner on Saturday. It took 60 minutes of regulations, 2 normal overtime periods, and then 7 exchanges of the 2-point conversion attempts for Illinois to notch the 20-18 win. So finally, they figured out what fighting means. I don't know if they just don't have those dictionaries down there in Champaign. But yeah, they actually fought for something this time, surprising the hell out of not me, but every other football fan, taking down the number 7 Penn State Nittany Lions.
Man, I wish I would have known this and made a bet. I could have made a lot of money on an unranked team beating the number 17 Penn State. Can you imagine? You could have put your whole savings on it and, made some quadruple money or something.
Hey, if you're betting on Illini, you need to go to jail or something because you're definitely doing something shady where you're so desperate that you have to bet on the Illini, bro.
That's so true.
This is gonna be called the bruh show because I keep saying it for no reason.
The bruh show.
Bruh. All right, bruh. What's going on at the Madhouse on Madison with the Chicago Blackhawks?
All right, as you all know, we record on Sunday, so the Blackhawks are playing right now. I think they're down 2-1. It's ugly, man. They're still looking for their first victory after 5 losses, not counting today's game on Sunday. A quick rundown of the ugly numbers before we get into some main issues. The Hawks have not led all season. A 300-minute, 57 streak that crushes the previous franchise record of 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 6 seconds. They set that last year. They're just getting worse. Opponents are outscoring the Hawks 21-9 overall and 17-3 at even strength, which means no power plays. Only Montreal, who's 0-5, and Arizona, who's 0-3-1, have worse goal differential. The Hawks' high danger goals per 60 minutes is 0.5, which is third worst, while their high danger scores against is 2.275, which is 4th worst. This means the Hawks are not capitalizing on the grade A chances while their opponents are coming through. So this is a quote from Patrick Kane. I'm probably the main culprit for that. And this is what he said after Thursday's 4-1 loss to Vancouver. It comes down to bearing down at certain parts of the game. They just suck. They got this great goalkeeper who got traded here. He did not want to play here, was about to retire. He had to be convinced by the rest of the guys on the team. And his numbers are really bad. The passing is atrocious. They can't make any passes to get into the offensive side of the blue line. The defense hasn't been there for 2.5 years. So since we we fired our coach who went down south and is coaching down south now in Quinville, this team has gone to shit.
They put a 12-year-old behind the glass and decided that he was the new coach. I don't know what he's doing there. I think a lot of Blackhawks fans don't know what the hell he's doing there. And the Blackhawks better thank their lucky stars that the Bears did what they did today, because otherwise it just gives Chicago fans something else to rage over, aside from the fact that Jeremy Colleton is just there as a supervisor. He's almost like the chaperone on a field trip because he just has no purpose of being there. They brought in Marc-Andre Fleury, and like you said, he had to be convinced to stay because he was ready to retire after that trade. And I want to say that I'm not sure if it was or not, but the Duncan Keith move, they really miss him. But you got Seabrook that's gone now too, and Kaner's been doing Kaner's doing Kane things. You got Taves back too, so I just think that this team is in complete disarray right now. They have no idea how to move forward, and this is bad. I have no idea how Colleton keeps his job for much longer if they keep going down this route.
Yeah, you can expect him. I think if they don't win tonight or maybe another game after that, I think by the end of the week he's gone. There's no reason there's no reason to keep him.
After the way they came out, I was surprised that he didn't beat the record of Dennis Savard, because I think he got fired after like 1 or 2 games in the season a few years ago. But
before Quinton.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. And a lot of people I still don't understand why you get rid of Quinville so early in the season when they did. You know what I mean? They got the year before last. They got rid of him like halfway through the season. At least give him the respect. He won 3 cups with your team. Give him the respect of at least finishing out the season, but they didn't. And good for him. You know what I mean? They were able to go out there. And I remember there was a story about him tailgating with fans at a Bears game, and he was like drinking off the the shot flight where everyone's drinking tequila or whatever it is. So, hey, he's doing well for himself, and the Blackhawks are not. So. Let's not waste any more time on them. Let's talk about the other tenants of the United Center with the Chicago Bulls.
So, this is the team that I'm really excited about. And, obviously because my baseball season is completely over. But the Chicago Bulls, the new look Bulls, are absolutely on fire. They're the only NBA team with a 3-0 record. DeMar DeRozan scored 21 points. Nikolai Vucevic, Vucci Man, had 15 points and 19 rebounds, and the Chicago Bulls beat the Detroit Pistons 97-82 this past Saturday at the United Center. DeRozan put an exclamation point on his night, finishing a thunderous third quarter dunk despite getting hit in the face by Pistons guard Diallo. Sure, we'll go with that. I don't know how to say his name.
Hey, Hamidou Diallo.
Good for you. And get a cough drop. His efforts helped give the Bulls their first 3-0 start of the season since 2016. They pretty much is very badly needed. They also were badly needed as Zach LaVine endured a sluggish start for the second straight night. The Bulls start didn't hit his first shot until after the 6-minute mark in the second quarter and finished the night with 14 points on 6 of 18 shooting. DeRozan said, "We're just going to keep going out there and playing for each other. We knew the offense is going to take a little time, but I'd rather it be this way now, and we can continue to build defensively while the offense comes around." So watching this game, and I watched from opening to close, they look amazing on defense. They help each other out. You had Lonzo Ball with a triple-double also in this game. The defense, there's a lot of help defense. There's a lot of rotation. The ball is moving around. It's not so much ISO. I mean, they do call isolation plays for each other, and that's fine. That's going to happen. That's the NBA. But it's not only Zach LaVine. And it's like I alluded to earlier, Zach LaVine didn't have a field goal in his first quarter, and they were still leading in this game. So that tells you that the rest of the guys are picking up the slack. You do have 3 All-Stars on this team, or 4 now, really, with Ball, Vucci Man, DeRozan, and LaVine. So you have 4 All-Stars. So there's going to be scoring that happens in here. So it's really good to see that the Bulls are actually going to be a competitive team, a team that's going to be in the playoffs. And I see them being a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference.
This is, if you look at this Bulls roster compared to the way it looked last year, I want to say there's only maybe 2 players, or no, I think there's 4 total players that are here that were here last year. You got Vucci Man, who came in mid-season in that trade. And you got Pat Will, Kobe White, and you got Zach LaVine. And the rest of the roster is basically turned over when you bring in Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan and all these guys. You got AO, who you got in the draft. I mean, and he was a first-round talent, so there's no reason he should have been there in the second round. But when you look at this team as a whole, I think the fact that Zach LaVine doesn't have to be the only scorer, the primary scorer. He has other players around him now that he can rely on. You know, the Bulls for years, Mike Logic was screaming that the Bulls need to find a way to get Lonzo Ball. Well, now they got him, and you're seeing a true facilitator to get the ball over to the guys who need the ball. Vucci Man in the middle who can actually score versus, whatever the hell they were doing with Lauri Markkanen and Otto Porter Jr., who is somehow on the Warriors this year. So, I mean, I love Lionel Richie, but not enough to have him on our team, bro. And the thing is that you're actually seeing, like I said, like you said, a bunch of all-stars on the team, a bunch of competent NBA players, and a bunch of guys that really, when you come to a team like the Bulls, you're looking at the history, you're looking at everything that's happened in that building, the house that Jordan built, and you have a sense of pride. Some guys want to shy away from that. We saw that the Bulls were at one point really close to getting Kobe. The Bulls supposedly were real close to getting LeBron over here. But the problem is that sometimes these guys do not want that pressure on them. And when you have guys that are names in the NBA, maybe not superstars, DeRozan, Vucci Man, Lonzo Ball, they're not superstars. They're known players in the league, and these are guys. these are the kind of guys that coming to the Bulls will rejuvenate them, will give them a kind of a fresh start. Even if you've done good in your career, they are playing like a team for the first time in a long time that I can remember.
Yeah, so I'm going to correct myself. Lonzo Ball had a triple-double the game before that. He only had 4 rebounds and it looks like 1 assist on that game and 13 points. But you also have the bench with Caruso chipping in with 12 points and 4 assists. You had Javonte Green, who has 2 monster dunks, comes up with 10 points off the bench and 4 rebounds and an assist in 18 minutes. I mean, your young guys are not getting as much playing time, and they will. You'll see that they'll be put into the rotation. You got Troy Brown that only had 11 minutes and 1 point. But what worries me right now is Patrick Williams. He looks like he might be getting lost in the shuffle. While he's there, he's not being as productive on the boards. And we are a smaller team compared to other teams that are rebounding. We don't have the height and the big boys that a lot of these teams do have. A lot of guys are 6'9", 6'10". Patrick Williams only had 9 points, 1 assist, and 4 rebounds. He needs to be that double machine that we lost in the 2 guys we traded away. That they were old and raggedy, but at least they were getting doubles.
Yeah, so I mean, like you have guys like Simonovic and like you said, Pat Will and Nikola. I mean, these guys are 6'10", 6'11", so you need those big boys to be up there to get those boards for you and see what they can do, because they have a lot of guards in this team. And we just really need to make sure that they can get the ball, because as long as they get the ball, they can go ahead and get it over to Lonzo, get it over to Zach, get it over to DeMar DeRozan, and get some of those outside shots. I mean, we look at the way, like I said, the way that this team has been constructed, considering the fact that they turned over so much from the beginning of last year. I mean, I like the direction that they're going. I think it's too early to worry about your boy the Paw or the Claw, or whatever the hell they named Pat Will. But like I said before, I still believe that he will be the key, because we don't know what he's going to be yet. You get some of these guys that just turn into superstars the moment they touch the NBA court. He's a guy that's going to need to develop over time. But one thing that he doesn't have to do, which I was very concerned about before, even though I still believe it's true, I feel like whatever he does is really going to dictate the way that the Bulls go in the next couple of years, because when you have a rookie, you draft him that high at number 4, he needs to be a star. And if he can be a star, then all your other parts and pieces of the team will fall into place. Yeah. You have good scoring, but you need to hit them boards.
Yeah, you do. And the one thing we haven't talked about is Kobe White, who was injured, and what is he going to look like when he comes back into the shuffle, and what role is he going to play? He's going to be coming off the bench. For sure he's coming off the bench. So is he going to be a change of pace guard? Is he going to be asked to be more of a facilitator, to be shooting? What is his role going to be?
Well, don't forget too, is you also have Caruso that's going to be coming off the bench as well, and he's a very good facilitator. He's going to be your leader of your second unit. So, I mean, you look at the fact that you're going to have him work with guys like Derek Jones, Alize Johnson, these guys that you're like, who the hell is that? Him and Kobe White being the guy that was drafted by the Bulls, number 7. I really don't know what to think of him. I feel like he's just not strong enough. I think he needs to get stronger. He's never going to get taller. I mean, he's only 6'4". He's 195 pounds. But I think that he can be a valuable player, but I don't see it in the future that he'll be a star on this team or in the league. But I definitely think that he has a role in this team.
All right, so that's enough Bull talks. We'll be right back up with 3 Up and 3 Down after a word from our sponsor.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
We all know that 2020 was no joke, and with an ever-changing world climate, many people are looking for a new opportunity. Guys, are you looking for a career that rewards effort and makes you feel valued as a team member? Let me tell you a little about our friends at ACSI. ACSI is a certified RCN business agent. They provide the same RCN services with a personalized touch. Their sales and technician teams work hand in hand, ensuring your experience will be smooth and pleasant. Gone are the days of being transferred from one person to the next. At ACSI, they handle everything from start to finish. It's never been so easy to get internet service. ACSI is a growing Chicagoland company that encourages personal growth and rewards perseverance. As they expand, they're looking for passionate, responsible, and honest professionals to join their team. A career with ACSI means you will be part of a hardworking, flexible, and dynamic team that is a leader in the installation of cable and internet services in the Chicagoland area. Best of all, ACSI was awarded Hacias 2020 Contractor of the Year Award. Are you ready to grow with a local Chicago company on the rise? Check out acsi.tech and click on careers to get started. That's acsi.tech and click on careers. Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast with E-Rock and Big Z.
Yeah.
It's time to touch bases with our baseball teams. This is 3 Up and 3 Down.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
Yo, E, what the hell happened to my Dodgers, bro?
All right, man. So I don't think this is the World Series that we wanted, because if I'm not mistaken, you wanted the Dodgers and I wanted the Red Sox, because the storylines would have been amazing. Kike Hernandez playing against LA, Mookie Betts playing against the Red Sox, back and forth. I mean, that was what I was looking forward to. But unfortunately, both of those series ended up in losses for the teams that we were actually looking forward to. Both the ALCS and the NLCS ended up with 4-2 results, and now we're looking at a Houston Astros versus Atlanta Braves World Series. Atlanta getting their revenge from last year when they were up 3-1 on the Dodgers, and the Dodgers ended up coming back and going to the World Series and winning it, and the Astros taking out their former bench coach in Alex Cora, who was the mastermind of the cheating scandal. So I think part of it is the Astros are looking forward to completely moving past that cheating scandal, considering the fact that they beat the guy that was the mastermind, and the Braves are energized after beating the Dodgers. But my fear is that the Braves now kind of overcame what they felt like they had to in beating the Dodgers. And what do you think about this World Series matchup?
All right, E. Yeah, the Atlanta Braves is my pick. And just because I hate Houston, and fuck Houston because they're cheaters. And Atlanta's got a great story with, Eddie Rosario being cast off, coming from the Minnesota Twins. You have tons of energies to the you had Acuna, who was the MVP to be, and he got hurt for the season, so they had to make different trades. They got your boy, he was a Cub, not that he was a Royal.
Jock.
Who? No.
Talking about Jock Peters?
No. We're talking about he was a Cub and then he was a Royal. He's an outfielder. What is his name? I'm so bad right now because I got teacher brain. Depth chart. His name is
Jorge Soler.
That dude's a monster. And then they get Peterson from the Cubs as well. And he is he's a World Series killer. Like, he steps up during the playoffs and during the World Series every year and comes through. I mean, Atlanta has been just like one of those teams that just got hot at the right moment. And then when they were playing everybody, the Dodgers couldn't do nothing to Atlanta. It was pretty much what Houston did to the White Sox is what Atlanta was doing to the Dodgers. Didn't matter who you threw out there. They were just going to hit it where you weren't. When you shifted, guess what? We just going to, all right, little single this way, little single that way. And they beat the Dodgers by 1,000 cuts.
The one of the biggest things that really hurt the Dodgers was the fact that their trade for Trey Turner really didn't do anything for them. They also had Justin Turner out because I want to see he had like a hamstring strain or something like that. So those are two guys, the two Turners, really, one of them with injury and one of them with inefficiency, really hurt the Dodgers' chances of repeating in the World Series. And the fact that, like you said, Eddie Rosario coming over from the Twins after they just decided that he really wasn't working out there, he went over there to the Braves and completely changed the way they played. With Acuna going out, with that ACL, and you had, I think something was also going on with Marcell Ozuna. They traded for Jorge Soler, and they also brought over Jock Peterson from the Cubs, and since then they've been doing well. Jock Peterson has this thing where he wears pearls for some reason. I don't know why. I kind of researched that, and he's like, well, why not? And looking at the other side in the AL, again, I wanted the Red Sox to be that one that, or to go to the World Series and play the Dodgers, because I just think nationally it would have been more of a draw. The whole thing filling up the laundry, seeing Kyle Schwarber in the World Series again. I mean, I thought it would have been a fantastic series. Unfortunately, that did not happen. And, look, we don't have to like what happened with the Astros in the 2017 World Series, but they are a very good team. And, that's another reason why I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this offseason with Carlos Correa, because what Carlos Correa has going on right now with Altuve up the middle, I mean, it's pretty special. And I feel like there's really a very low chance of them wanting to break that up. And he's been on fire, and Altuve, you can't pitch to him. So like I said, it's the big guy and the little guy, and they're both hitting it out of the park. So this will be a very interesting World Series. It's nice to see two teams, as and I include the Astros in it, even though they've been to 5 straight ALCS. But two teams that you just for years you really didn't think of as being championship caliber. We did see the Braves be so good in the 90s and only get, I think, 1 World Series out of that. So it'll be interesting for baseball fans. I'll be watching, but for the casual fan, it's not going to have as much of a draw unless you're just really rooting for the Astros to lose. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. And I shared that meme with on my personal page that the whole country is going to be nice and blue except for that little star in Houston, Texas. That's about it. Everyone's going to be going for Atlanta. Also, a big issue is that Lance McCullers Jr. is out for the World Series. He got injured and with a forearm issue. And when you have a forearm issue as a pitcher, you are pretty much done, because your pitching is all about your grip on the baseball. So them losing their ace, their horse, is going to be a big deal. So let's see, who else do they got on there? They got Valdez, Garcia, Urquidy, my bad, and then Greinke. Those are the 4 horses that they're going to put out there. I don't know. I mean they have. Go ahead. Sorry. I was trying to pause after the colors. I've been waving at the screen for like 5 minutes. My bad. It's because I'm reading up here and I have you down here. I know. I was going to lead you into that. Okay. So all right, yeah. So like you said, with McCullers out, I mean, the big thing is you got to remember Lance McCullers was the Lance that actually performed really well in the first round of the playoffs, because he was a White Sox killer, and Lance then wasn't really getting it done. So the Lance versus Lance face-off went to the Astros, and he has definitely been the stud for them. And he is not gonna be there at all for the World Series, like you said. And you look down the list of who they're going to start. Framber Valdez. I mean, this is like the World Series of weird names. Framber Valdez, Jose Urquidy, Luis Garcia, and Zach Greinke, who somehow is still in the majors. This is going to be an interesting. I think they're going to be. The biggest thing is they're going to be relying quite a bit on the bullpen, because I don't know how long these guys can go. I will say that Luis Garcia has been very impressive, seeing what he's been able to do, and he's been a strong player for them. Yeah, he has. Well, now the thing was that the Astros bullpen wasn't their strongest point coming into the playoffs, but in the last 2 series, once against the White Sox and against Boston, they've been doing pretty well. So that's very surprising. So the issue is going to be, can the Braves pitcher calm the Astros bats? That is going to be the big turnaround. So if you can not let them cut you by 1,000 paper cuts, or kill you by 1,000 paper cuts, that is going to be the biggest deal. Again, you've got the 2 AL and NL MVP for the series. They were both Latinos. You had let's see, what was his name? For the NL, it was Eddie Rosario, and then for the AL, it was Jordan Alvarez. So that's the first time that's actually happened in Major League history, where you have 2 Latinos being the MVPs for the ALCS and NLCS. It is going to be, like you said, a barn burner and a slugfest, because these 2 teams can hit either the long ball or they can slice you up if you pull that shift. So it's really going to be left up to pitching and the bullpen. So you're either going to have these scores where you're going to be 10-7, 10-8, or you're going to have 2-1 games. That's where I think. That's what we've been seeing all playoffs. I mean, it's either a 10-1 game or it's 1-2. You know what I mean? And the thing is that, like you said, Yordan Alvarez was the MVP of the NLCS or the ALCS. I'm sorry. And he's very quiet. He's very reserved. But he like I said before, when you get these guys that are not super known versus Correa and Altuve, who do have their at bats and do really well. But I mean, you're relying on a guy like Alvarez. You're relying on a guy like Kyle Tucker and Yuli Gurriel to really get it done for you, because those are the guys that really no one's expecting much out of. And what I mean by that is that they are not the names that you worry about as much as the bigger names, and those are the sneaky guys that come in. So the first game, you're gonna also have Charlie Morton going for the Braves. Now, Charlie Morton has been in the league for quite some time. I want to say he was on the Pirates for a while. He's moved around. So, I mean, you also have Max Fried, who for some reason his name is Fried, although his name is spelled Fried. I don't understand that, because I would definitely, make a whole bunch of t-shirts if I was him that said Fried something on it. But I digress. This is going to be an interesting World Series, and it really... Again, I think when we look at the strength on both teams, you have very strong hitters, and it's going to be interesting to see which pitching staff cracks first, and that we'll see who goes up ahead in this first game.
Yeah, you don't snooze on this, because you will see pitchers getting pulled in the first inning. They're not gonna wait for anything. They're not gonna let these leads get away, because they know that this is going to be a 5 to 6 game series. Charlie
Morton pitches for the Braves, and Framber Valdez pitches for the Astros. So Charlie Morton is going to face Framber Valdez in game 1. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's really gonna depend on which pitching staff cracks first. So I know who you want to win, but who do you think will win the World Series?
All right, if I'm betting with my balls, I bet Houston in 6. If I'm betting with my heart, I want Atlanta in 5.
So you want versus you think? Because I honestly, despite the fact that every team that I've rooted for so far in this postseason has lost, I honestly think that the Astros are going to win the World Series again. I think it's going to be a somewhat of a validation, considering the fact that they were caught up in that cheating scandal a few years ago. I think that there is definitely going to be a lot of cries and screams about check this and check their check for the buzzer under their uniform and all this other mess. But I don't know. It just my heart and my brain both tell me that more than likely the Astros are going to win the World Series. Now, with that being said, watch the Braves win it all, just because the team that I think is going to win is not going to win. That's just what it is. And that's so what I would do if you're a betting man, go against whatever I do. Just fade everything I say and you should be good.
Yeah, likewise. I wanted the White Sox. I wanted Boston. I wanted LA. Yep. Every team I've been cheering for in the playoffs has lost. So I'm going to cheer. Well, I don't want to cheer. I'm just saying I'm putting my money on Houston and my heart on the Braves, just because they have a great story of a bunch of misfits together to win. All right. So we'll be right back with Stirring the Pot.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast with E-Rock and Big Z.
Yeah.
Oh, no Kool-Aid Man. Wow. Okay. All right. It's that time again, brother. You know what time it is. It's time for Stirring the Pot. All right, brother. So I actually bought some food this week for myself, so I don't eat out as much, and I took my ass to Costco. So I'm gonna ask you this, because I know you've been to Costco. Costco pizza, is it a yay or a nay?
I have no idea. I've never had Costco pizza.
What the fuck? You've never had Costco pizza? Why?
No, because I buy my food and leave. I'm not there to eat. I'm there to buy my food. So just on that basic principle, I'll say it's a nay. But before we keep going, have you ever seen the Kool-Aid commercials?
Yeah.
Yeah. He don't say yeah.
He says, oh,
he doesn't say any of the things. No, he doesn't.
Kool-Aid Man. Duff Man.
Duff Man says, oh no. That's more Duff Man than anything else. Fucking knucklehead. But yeah, I've never had the pizza at Costco, man. I get in, I fill up my cart with veggie straws and what other crap that the kids want to eat, and make sure that I feel like kids now, like when we were kids, like you had to eat whatever was put in front of you. Now kids are like, just, all right, fuck it, you want this, like, here's a snack, like at least eat something, because it's just easier than fighting with everyone all the time.
Yeah, well, so I stocked up on a lot of, it's funny because I always get more stuff to drink, and not alcohol, but I get a lot of stuff to drink more than I get food. And then I look at my fridge, I'm like, shit, I got nothing to eat. I got to order a pizza.
See, with us, it's literally the opposite, because I mean, we drink a ton of water. I think my routine is water, beer, or coffee. That's really all I drink. I'll drink like Coke Zero. The new Coke Zero is pretty good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, like we cook a ton. You know, I mean, I got kids, man. I got kids that all they do is eat constantly. It's insane. It is insane the amount of food that my older daughter ate the other day. I think she ate like 2 lunches. We give her a lunch at school, and then to take to school, and then she goes and like eats the school lunch because I think it's free this year. I don't know if it's all the time, but yeah, so she'll just eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, and then you go in the room and here's a bowl of this and there's a plate from that, and I'm just like, yo, you got a sink in here I didn't know about? Like, how did this all get in here? What the hell's going on?
Hey man, she's a growing woman, man. She's a preteen turning into a teenager, and she's going to continue to eat like that because she's an athlete, dude. The more of an athlete she is, the more calories she's going to consume. So expect that bill to go higher and higher until she's like about 18 and out of the house.
Excuse me, sir, my baby girl will never grow up, so fuck you. Let's move on. All right, before we go, what you looking at? What are you watching that isn't sports?
All right, man, my show Succession is back on HBO. It's all about corporate greed, and it's a family that has a company, and it is so good. You've got to watch it. Macaulay Culkin's little brother's in there. He is hilarious because he's such a snarky asshole. I don't really think he's acting. So it's an awesome show. Season 3 just started last week, and there's another episode this week. I'm also rewatching Yellowstone because the new season starts up in about a couple of weeks. Kevin Costner stars in that, and the guy Rip, which is like his right-hand man. If you don't remember, hopefully you remember Fast and Furious 2, where Tyrese and Paul Walker are racing through Miami. He was the villain. He was like the cool Miami-looking dude. And now he's got, you know, the Wranglers and the boots and the full beard and the accent. And so it's weird to see him in that contrast, but that just makes him a better actor. He's awesome. He's my favorite character. And lastly, WWE had their Crown Jewel event in Saudi Arabia this past Thursday, where you saw Brock Lesnar make his return to compete for the World Championship against Roman Reigns and the family. It was a pretty good event. I mean, it was fun to watch. The production values that they put out there for an event that it's in the middle of the week is just amazing. It was a pretty action-packed show. You had a couple first. You had the first black man. If I remember correctly, the first black man to win King of the Ring, and I think the first Latina wrestler to win King of the Ring for the women, or Queen of the Ring, or whatever they want to call it. So that was pretty cool. So a good action. It was 4 hours. It took me like 3 days to watch in 30-minute and 45-minute increments. But it's starting to turn around. So if you're into wrestling, jump back in if you lost your way or whatever. But I like watching the big events, just like he watches the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania with me, and he likes the core 4 events.
Yeah, I mean, I watch the big pay-per-views, and that's all I need. I mean, I feel like that kind of, even if you, I mean, my big wrestling fandom was probably early 2000s with like Get the Tables and all that other crap right now with Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit and Edge and Christian and Triple H and The Rock and Stone Cold, and that was my era of wrestling watching. You're talking about Kieran Culkin. That's the name of the Macaulay Culkin's little brother, and he is actually going to be on SNL coming up next week. But for me, of course, the SNL fan, if you are not an SNL fan, that you really don't know how big Jason Sudeikis was on the show, but you know him as the star of Ted Lasso. He came back last week to host, and he did not disappoint. He reprised his devil character on Weekend Update, and the devil explained what he's been up to for the past few years.
Right. What's up, Colin? What's shaking?
Well, it's just great to see you, Devil. You know, we haven't seen you in like 4 or 5 years.
Oh, yeah. It's because I've been busy, baby. Yeah. Last few years have been pretty good for old Beelzebub here.
Yeah, well, congratulations. What have you been working on lately?
Oh, man, so many little side projects, earthquakes, got some killer storms, Instagram for kids.
Oh,
trying to get it off the ground, trying. Oh, and the climate. The climate, come on. Look, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been making things up here feel more like where I'm from, So, have you ever been to Florida? That's not that different from hell. It's basically pre-hell, It's people in their hundreds, and the temperatures are also in their hundreds.
So, yeah, I can't get enough. I'm going to end up watching this episode again. I'm going to watch last week's episode again because I try to watch them at least twice all the way through. So, yeah. And the last thing I want to tell you, if you remember the villain from Fast and Furious 2, you should stop doing crystal meth because that's the only people that remember that shit.
Oh man, come on! I was watching Fast and Furious like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then after that, I just lost my total interest in it. But actually, 2 is one of my favorites because of the cars that were in it, not so much the story. The cars that were in it were pretty cool because they had muscle versus import, so that was the story on that one. And then after 3, I'm sorry, that was 3. It might have been 2. Either one, Tokyo Drift, that one, I don't know. This whatever. Either way, but. To your point on the SNL stuff, last week with Rami Malek, that shit was hilarious, especially when they did the game show one, the game show with they were impersonating each other, him and what's your boy?
Yeah, Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson. They were impersonating each other. That shit was pure gold. So yeah, I will watch SNL after I sign off here while I work on my school stuff. So let's get out of here.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm probably going to do the same just so I can watch it all over again. So with that said, that is it for today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for listening. A big thank you to our sponsors, 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, ACSI, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF Podcast t-shirt. Search for keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 at checkout for 15% off of your entire order. That's TrueFan15. Go and get your shirts right now.
Get them.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at acsi.tech and check out their career section to start an exciting new career in the communications industry. Go to acsi.tech, that's acsi.tech, and click on careers to apply today. Shout out to our friends at the Some of This, Some of That podcast. New episodes available on all major platforms. Coach Mo and Justice talk about all type of topics. Go and check them out. And also don't forget to check out the Shine Native Radio podcast, now available on all major platforms. Mike Logic, Ideal, Throw MC, and Words talk about sports, movies, and all types of ill shit. Shout out to Ronesh and shout out to Panic and our brand new beats from the homie Serious Beats for all the stuff that we play on today's show. Check out paniconthebeat.com for all your moment merch and gear. And don't forget to check out PROD by Sirius.com. That's prod by Sirius.com to check out all of Serious Beats music. Once again, I want to give a shout out to Georgie and Molly on your upcoming bundle of joy and also your nuptials. That was a really great time. I appreciate hanging out with y'all and the family and seeing everyone. And just want to give y'all some more love because I'm really happy for you guys and everything that's going on.
No, I was going to say, man, happy for Georgie and Molly, and I was glad that you were able to.
Oh, we're cool. me and Jay have always been cool. Me and Jay, let me tell you a little bit something about those who don't know the relationship between us. We're like the brothers who will fight when we're not together, and when we're together, we hug. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? So we're always going to be cool. That's my little brother. I love him forever. And he's still a pain in my ass, but I'm very happy for everything. And I think he found the perfect person for his life. So I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, I'm happy for that.
All right, y'all. Absolutely. Don't forget to check us out on social media. You can find us at True Chi Fans on Twitter. That's at True CHI Fans on Twitter. Also find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and reach out to us. Hit the DMs with your Story the Pod ideas, your movie recommendations, and just your general questions and ideas about the show. Tell us what you think. You can hit us up at truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com. All right, y'all. For Big Z, this is E-Rock. We'll see you next week for episode 69.
Watch out.
Yeah. Until then, be good to each other.
For the love of sports.
Happy Halloween, y'all.
This is not how we wanted it to go. You almost can't even make it up. It's that bad.
True story.
A few moments later.
You have a lot of incest.
That's real.
Shut your mouth, lover boy.
Nature versus nurture, Lodge. Nature always wins.
I think he's on steroids.
Hasta luego, amigos. That's all. I shouldn't have had those artichoke poppers.